phone number?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do have a
Will you
contact
send
number.
that to me too, or Neil?
You want
I can get.
you or Neil,
Oh,
or both?
either.
Either
And then
one.
I can get a quote from the place that, the building, the Don's uses. And then we should get another one.
Contractors out there too.
And then we just need one more.
Okay. If you choose, I can contact the contractor if you
Okay.
choose.
I'll
The
reach
board
out to
chooses.
Jeff and Don's,
Okay,
and then if you find one more, then we'll have three.
right, okay, I'll reach out to the head construction.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Neil, thank you for everything.
On the same vein, Art, I was trying to figure out what we need for material to fix the parking lot. It's
Yeah.
in sad shape. What would you think your recommendations are? 3 inches of top coat at least, or what would you?
The problem is it's so out of shape, and with it being up against sidewalks and buildings, topping it is not the proper way to do it. Because
Okay,
you're gonna have, you got manholes out here, if you start raising the blacktop, then the manholes will become potholes, you know what I'm saying? It's so out of shape, down in back, there used to be a drain.
yeah, there's a
that
hole there.
crushed
where
it,
the
We filled it in with gravel is all we ever did with it. That don't need to be there. Best thing to do is take up the blacktop where it has to be taken up, and then down in there you have to put several layers in, cause you just can't put a layer over top. Cause if you vary too much of blacktop and you roll it, you're still gonna end up with a pothole. If you're
Okay.
going along 3 inches and in one spot it's 6 inches, when they roll that 6 inches, it compacts more than 3 inches. So you're gonna end up with a
You're
dip.
gonna end up with a
You gotta-
depression.
You gotta true level it before you pave. Top is, modified binder is a good material.
Okay,
It's not watertight, but it's good material. That's what we put on dirt. Anytime we put blacktop on top of blacktop, then we use a regular top material, 6F,
okay.
a little bit finer.
Do you think, is there any way to piggyback?
For the town hall, I don't know. I'd
I
find
mean,
out.
not money, we can't use the
Not
same.
Oh, I
money.
understand
We can't
that,
use that
but-
money.
I'm gonna say that if you guys wanna do this parking lot, when we go to bid for blacktop, we can include it as part of the bid,
Yes,
just knowing it's a separate bid in conjunction with the other bid. So the
Yes.
contractor that does the roads
Knows he's gonna make a separate trip.
knows they may end up doing this too, you know?
And they have to charge separate.
and,
And it
yeah,
will
we
be
have to
billed
bill
separately.
separate,
Cause
certainly.
we're actually, I've already talked, the town of Ephrata, the 2 roads I plan on paving this year go into the town of Ephrata. Town of Ephrata is gonna pave their ends too, so there'll be one paved the whole way.
So Hinkle's gonna be on your list this year, or
No.
Kreider, or no? Okay, well, they go into a freighter, and I know it's not paved up
No,
there, so,
Wagner's Hollow and Suits are the main two.
Nice.
okay.
But those both go into town of Ephrata, and Ephrata owns just a small section of the ends of both of those, so they're gonna repave theirs at the same time. Same thing as last year where did a little bit in the town of Mohawk, they got billed for it, it was nothing to do with us. But the paver got more work.
Would you mind trying to figure out how many tons we would need to fix this?
Would you just include it in the bid?
I-
Is that, do you do that?
Well, no, because they're gonna charge a lot more to do this parking lot, than they're gonna charge to do my road.
No, but you know what I mean, like, just like you said, when you send it out to bid, include
Right,
it
but,
separate.
but probably should figure out what you wanna do first. Do you wanna pull some of it up and put 2 inches of binder over the whole thing? Or, like I say, out here by the sidewalk, you just can't put blacktop out here by the sidewalk, or it's gonna be that much higher than the sidewalk.
So,
What's the right way to do it, Art? I
Yeah.
don't know anything about paving.
If the base was good, if the base was good, they would come in with a milling machine and they'd mill 4 or 5 feet from the sidewalk out into the parking lot. So then they started at the sidewalk and then taper it up so that it's back flush with the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like when they do village streets, they mill
mill.
village streets.
yeah, I've
If they
seen
don't
that.
mill them, then you gotta raise the manholes, otherwise the manholes are gonna be a different level than the rest of the parking lot.
Okay. all right.
So, you could probably, the best way would probably be shoot from the hip without looking at it good. I would say pull up the blacktop from the road till say down part of the center of the building, so that when they start paving, they're coming from nothing, coming in, and then T&L down there in the back, and then just cover over the top of it. So you're gonna pull up a little bit of blacktop,
Mhm.
and then replace it with.
That sounds really good, though. That sounds like the way to fix it.
That's
right.
the way.
way to fix it and
if,
do
if
it
it was
right.
mine, that's the way I would do it. I wouldn't just cover it.
There's no point in doing it halfway, 'cause
Well,
it's not gonna hold
it's
up.
getting to the point where it's gonna be a real safety issue. We got potholes and chunks coming out here
Yeah,
and
I see it.
everything, and it's gotta be fixed, so, for the value of the property,
I mean, because you're not coming in here, you're not getting heavy truck traffic and stuff the same as the roads. You could probably get away with either 2 inches of binder or a couple inches of top. You know,
Okay.
Binder is a little bit cheaper in price. You know, a couple dollars, $4 or $5 a ton maybe. So
Do you think for next meeting you can give us a little?
I'll give you a rough
recommendation?
estimate
Yeah,
how much
come
tons it would
on,
take.
some kind of an idea,
Now,
please.
is that in the purview of the guys to pave here, or do we have to get?
We don't have a paper.
You don't have we don't have a paver, but we have a roller, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
No, but they do it. That it would be
if
part of
you,
Oh, the company, when they come do the road, would do
they
it
bring
for
their own
us.
stuff,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. But we could fix the hole
Oh,
in
we
the back.
we could T&L the hole in the back with blacktop and get that smooth.
Get it
Okay.
ready
Pull
for
up the
them?
blacktop and get it ready for them to just come in and pave.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
But like I say, I would start the sidewalk
Yep.
and pull all that blacktop up partially so that it looks good coming in.
It's in pretty bad shape anyway. Probably
Yeah.
come up pretty
But,
easy.
but like I say, out here, you know, this driveway out here is V like this.
Right.
That should have some down through the center, so it's back to close to being level.
Right, so we
Right.
crown it the right way and get it off.
Because like I say, if you go down through the paver and they put 2 inches on the outside, you're gonna have 5 or 6 inches in the center. When they roll it, it's gonna be like this again.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, all right, and we certainly don't want water coming toward the building or laying in the middle.
And is there anybody you know of locally that does pavement striping? Or somebody we've used to do striping, like if we want to do parking lot striping or something?
I think Cool Paving in St. Johnsville does pavement striping. I believe they do Lombardo's. That's the reason I know. I see
Okay.
their truck
Oh,
there.
okay, all right.
Okay, okay.
Lombardo's seal coats their driveway every year. I see their truck there.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, well,
Alright.
we'll look into that because we're obviously gonna line mark it when we're done and put some,
I mean, there is a company that gets the county bid every year, but I don't know if they.
we're too small.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have enough parking lot here
yeah.
to warrant.
Who does Stewart's stripping?
What's that?
Who does Stewart's and Rite Aid?
I have no idea. Stewart's a big company out of Saratoga. They probably hire whoever.
Well, same company was doing Rite Aid too this year.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I just, a local guy. I know Cool.
No, that's good.
Cool
Okay.
does.
We'll get an estimate, it might be very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, I don't think it-
Possibly Jimmy Hart, maybe?
Probably any of them guys that do blacktopping are gonna know.
Right.
Them small guys are gonna know somebody. We don't do any striping, so I've
Yeah.
never had to deal with it.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood.
Okay, thank you, Art. Maybe
Okay.
for next month, we'll figure it out. and-
I'll give you a rough idea what it's gonna cost for tonnage and.
Okay, that was my first one.
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, I did some inquiries about records. There's a company out of Albany, New York, Focus Technologies. They use, they actually partner, it's like a Liberty thing where they use some developmentally disabled folks to help
They've been
skip.
out here
Okay.
and out in the.
Okay,
Yeah, we got quotes from them, I think, didn't we?
so what was the quote for them to digitize records for us? Do we know? Because,
I don't know, because I don't have a copy of the grant that you sent. I don't have a copy of it, so I don't know what the quotes were.
It's like $20,000.
okay. Because I know we have to do something and I want to, I talked to them today and thought we could, start to get things digitized and get it, before we lose the records altogether and then we're in non-compliance at some point. Because once they reach a certain point, they're gonna be unscannable and readable. So what would be next step? What would you feel, I guess I'm throwing out there, I'd like to do something about this. What do you think the next steps are?
So the next steps, the first step is to find a space for the records that is a physical space for the records, because the state doesn't let you just digitize stuff and throw it away. they don't see it as a fix, that you necessarily, that you digitized everything. Although, but it's partly that, but for them, the priority is for us to find a space that is.
Do we know how many square feet these records take up at this particular point?
It's not a huge, I don't know exactly what
Okay.
space we would need or want, I mean.
If you wanna come down someday, Chris, I can.
I'd love to, but
And
because,
look in the area, and while we're talking about that, Chris, I happened to think of the other day too, another reason that they shouldn't be brought in here, is it's right next to the furnace and the hot water heater, which both have flames.
okay.
If there was ever a fire, that would be the first thing we would lose, would be the records. I've had a fire in my office, I know how quickly it takes off. The records would be the first thing we lost, that close to the furnace and hot water heater.
And what, as the records office, Linda, how many years must we hold these records, or does it vary?
Different years. For vouchers, they say 6 years retention. Payrolls, 55 years. There are some things that are permanent records, such as,
We have it all mapped out.
yeah,
Okay.
I have a book
Okay,
that tells it.
so,
We have it all mapped, we have it by the record, the number of boxes.
okay, so this is easy, okay, so I'm retracing some stuff. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get up to
No,
speed
that's
because it is true, we've been waiting to probably do this for a year and try to figure this through, and I got some time and I wanna make
No
this.
matter how you go around it, whatever the solution is, it's gonna be, pretty much on Linda to make the transition.
To implement
Right?
whatever we
Like, there's
decide.
nobody out, so whatever, we can come up with ideas, but ultimately, Linda's gotta do the work. And so,
Do you have a preferred method, one method over another, Linda, or?
No, I think they do need to be digitized, but like Sarah said, even though we digitize them, we
You still
still
need-
can't throw them away.
No, I understand, okay.
They have, they have to be put in a space where they can be kept. But, there's, like the minutes, we've talked, and there's grants that are available, you can, index them and do things like that, and then put them on files, indexed, right, Sarah? Put them on
yeah,
files.
I mean, but even to digitize it, you have to go through every box.
Yeah, you have to
And
go through every
You have to
box.
label every box. You have to say what it is you're putting in there.
Right.
Otherwise, it's useless. I mean, the wonderful thing about digitizing is like, you want something from January 27th,
Yeah,
1932?
Pop it
There
up.
it is.
There it is.
But
Right.
somebody had to tell it that is January 27th, 1932, and that's where the work comes in.
Right.
So, I mean, just to be realistic about things.
I mean, there's a lot of physical time consuming to get them ready.
And honestly, I think that's why we didn't get it. I just don't, I think they looked and were like, well, we can give you the money to do this, but how is it actually gonna happen? So I think the best, most reasonable fix for us is to find a physical location for our records that ensures that they don't deteriorate any further. Once we have a new heating and cooling system in this room, it's actually not a huge number of boxes. That gets us somewhere. If we wanted to move them over the permanent records, that you would go out there like once every few months. You're not out there all the time, right?
Well, I have to go out there now and look for payroll record from 1984.
Okay, but that comes
But,
up.
I mean, Judge Steiger gets calls and he's gotta go out there and find depositions and things like that.
Right, but if we had them
But it's rare.
digitized and then stored them securely somewhere,
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't need to physically
If
see
you
them.
want,
You wouldn't
I
need to
mean,
physically see them if they were
you
digitized.
could say you want them digitized, but that doesn't get them digitized.
Even
Even if we pay a vendor to do it.
I understand, because we have to do a lot of prep work before we can do that, but I'm trying to find a solution before we,
The solution is to put them somewhere where they don't further deteriorate for
Okay.
now.
Can't
And
move
when,
off premises, because like she said, Judge Steiger has to have access,
You
and they have to be
you
here.
most certainly can. I
That's
mean,
what he
the
told me.
difference between going around here or going to the village down the road to the village of Palatine Bridge, not. And what we're talking about is the history of our town is literally like, it's surrounded by like animals eating the,
I know, but
it's
I
just a
just-
ridiculous
I know,
situation.
I talked to him about it before, and I know he said that he can't move his
Well,
record.
people say things that aren't necessary. So,
I don't
Well,
think
and
the judge
that's
would
another,
lie.
that's another thing too. I mean,
I wouldn't doubt it.
if we move them off-site, the village has to be okay with us
Sure,
having,
of course.
keys to access it after
Who
hours
says it's to the
and
village?
that,
I mean,
too.
it just says it needs
Yeah.
to be in a safe, secure
Yeah.
location. It could be a storage locker that's got shelving that's
Yeah.
safe
But
and
the
climate
reality is
controlled.
like months and months will go by that nobody goes up there.
I understand. So okay, let me come out, okay. Now that I got the parameters, thank you on that one. The next one on my list is, I would like to, I'd like the board's permission to send a letter out to, the mayor, of Canajoharie to ask him about fire hydrants and what the procedure would be, and if we would have permission to tie into the
We already
system.
have the permission, we've already got a letter from him, and he already okayed it at a board meeting.
Well, where is it, so we never acted on it? What, you were there, tell me what happened, please.
It was related to building the new town hall.
Yeah,
So if we don't build a new town hall, we can't save
No.
citizens, or
he didn't
what's?
say that.
Okay, so we have permission, do you have a cost estimate of what it would cost to,
No.
I
okay.
think you should just give them a call.
I'm gonna give him a call, and then I'm gonna come to you next meeting, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. What I think we should do, so, okay, fair enough. Last one was security. We talked about a security system. Oh, one more thing on a sidetrack. I wrote Justice Dygert said there's been no movement on the town court renovation drawings, but he did give me some emails, so I wrote the OCA to find out where the holdup is and what's going on, and I hope to report back next month of what's going on with that, so we can get that rolling, because it's been almost a year of back and forth with really no resolution on that. But looking at, and Linda brings it up time after time, and it just makes me a little spooky that we have large numbers of sums of money passing through here without security. I'd like to solicit some bids on the security system, along with cameras in motion, and see what it is, so we could discuss the ability of there being some sort of panic button and camera and perimeter defense.
Well, it didn't help when Josh put in there that I go to the bank 3 days a week. He shouldn't have put that in the paper. I mean, the only thing that would've helped is that when she goes between 1:30 and 2, then everybody would know I go every day between 1:30 and 2.
The money's in your left-hand pocket,
Right,
right?
yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have put there that I have to go to the bank every day.
You could have described your car too.
So, yeah, you
Yeah.
can just go ahead and solicit.
Thank you, I just wanted permission to do that, so that's, okay, that's the list I have for this month, thank you.
Great. Any other council member remarks? Okay, moving on to introduction of resolutions and motions. Take it away, Neil.
Okay. Here last year, we introduced resolution number 63. It's a resolution to approve the proposed amendment to local law number 1 of 2008. The resolution was sponsored by Hank and I believe seconded by Betty. It reads, whereas after due deliberation, the Town of Palatine Planning Board has recommended to the Town of Palatine Town Board a proposal to amend local law number 1 of 208, section 3. Said local law 1 of 208 being itself an amendment of local law 1 of 1997. And whereas the Town of Palatine Planning Board has recommended that the second sentence of section 3 of local law number 1 of 208 entitled Powers and Duties, which reads, the alternate members of the town planning board shall serve only in place instead of planning board members who cannot participate due to a conflict of interest. An alternate planning board member shall be designated to serve by the chairperson of the planning board as a substitute for a member when such member is unable to participate because of a conflict of interest on an application or matter before it. Be amended as follows. The chairperson of the planning board may designate an alternate member of the town planning board to serve in the place instead of a planning board member when a planning board member abstains from participation to avoid a conflict of interest on a matter or an application before the board. A planning board member is absent from a meeting. A vote is required to make a quorum, or a planning board seat is vacant. Now thereafter, be it resolved by the town, this is from last year, be it resolved, the board of the town of Palatine, that the second sentence of section 3 of local law 1 of '08 entitled Powers and Duties be amended as set forth above, that said amendment be adopted as local law as of, and the date of that was a vote on October 26th. The roll call vote was taken, all agreed. We also had a public hearing, and that was done on October 12th. It was titled, Public Hearing Budget Workshop of 0/12/2016. If you look down the page about 2/3 of the way, the public hearing for resolution number 63 of 2016 to amend local law number 1 of '08, allowing alternates to serve on the board, was called to order at 6:30 p.m. I called the state and spoke with Sarah down at the State Association of Towns. She said what we needed to do is give this as a local law number and submit it. And that's all that's required. And I reiterated to her numerous times that this was brought forward in 16 and the public hearing was in 16. She said it doesn't matter, just assigning the local law of 2017. I'd like to call this local law number 1 of 2017. And it should be able to be filed with the Secretary of State. Therefore, once it's filed, then it does become law, but not until.
So Neil, what you're saying is that this was all done correctly except for we didn't assign it a local law
We didn't
number.
sign a law and it didn't get the Secretary of State to be recorded.
So we're just fixing an administrative issue.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That's
for everyone
correct.
who,
Basically, what we're doing is we're renaming it a different local law.
Well,
right?
no, we're not even gonna change the,
No, I mean, it's gonna be local law 1 of
Number 1 of
2012,
2007. We never got that far
instead of
before.
63 of this.
right,
it's
it'll
going
still
from a
remain
resolution to a
63,
local law.
but it will have a local
Okay.
law number 1, 2017.
Going from a resolution to.
Yeah.
It's local law 1 of 2017, and that the amendment be adopted as local law as of the date below, and the date below is now today.
Would it be?
No, so we don't even have to take a revote.
No?
No.
This has to be,
We're
this
not
has to be
voting?
filed, this has to be certain,
As I said, I talked with Sarah this morning, the Association of Towns. I usually talk with Katie down there. I was given to Sarah. She didn't have the correct answer at that time. She called me back, said we do not need to change numbers or another public hearing. Assign a local law number and file is what her
yeah,
instructions
but there's
were
a
to me.
special form that it has to be
Yeah.
filed with.
I have
Yeah.
the form here. I have copies of that form.
Who was this seconded by originally?
Betty, originally. Here's a list of the local laws, instructions on how to go about it, and the forms that are necessary that I was able to get from New York State.
I think we ought to have a tracking process as this proceeds forward and on any future, saying where we are with this, because it may not have happened here in this building, but somewhere along the line, the ball gets dropped on these issues.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea, and to get it done in a timely manner so it stays within the time frame that's required.
Oh, yes, 20 days, or else you've done all this work
Right,
for nothing.
right. She told me this time, she said this one won't matter.
Yeah.
Because we did all our work.
because we did all the work except for filing. That's the only thing we're missing, and assigning that local
Did you
number
ever
one.
register local laws? It says it's asking for a clerk's signature.
Yeah.
Yes, it asks for
The
it.
attorneys have always done them, and I've just had to sign them.
All right,
Okay.
so,
And I've already signed 2 this year for Greg Dunn.
Yeah, technically, they need, the attorney doesn't need to sign it again or work with it again.
what are the two that,
I have no idea. What were the two that Greg submitted, had you sign?
are we sure they're different than the